Welcome to Blush Podcast. I'm Cole Eubanks, and tonight, I'm not in control. This is Naughty Narratives, and your host, the ever-alluring Kelly, is taking the lead. She's asking the questions, the kind that make you shift in your seat, and I'm just here with a glass of wine and at her mercy. So, dim the lights, take a sip, and lean in. This is going to get personal.
Hey everybody, we are here with Cole Eubanks. He is an audiobook narrator and a voice actor, and we're going to chat about all kinds of fun stuff. So yay! Okay, so we always have beverages. I didn't do wine today, unless if you have wine, I can get some wine. But I did a high noon. Have you ever had these vodka seltzers? This is my product placement.
Never have I ever.
They're really good. They're like, you know how like a lot of seltzers are, they taste like fruit salad burped into a cup, basically.
That's eerily accurate, and yes.
And this is just like, it's, I don't know, it's nice and refreshing. It's great. They actually, this multi-pack is called a pool pack, and they're perfect for like hanging out at the pool. And
There you go.
yes, and this one is guava flavored. I haven't had this one yet. I like all the flavors. I'm going to take a little sip. We'll do our flavor profile. It indeed tastes like guava. It's, I like these two. This is basically, they need to hire me for endorsements.
I was going to say.
It's got real fruit juice in it. So it tastes like, literally what it's supposed to taste like. It tastes nice and fresh and good.
Which is not always a given, to be sure.
Correct. It's nice and clean. Yeah. Okay. So what have you got?
I have a Cab Sauvignon, just 2022, so nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Dry Creek Valley, Sonoma County. Oh, Sonoma. Oh, yeah. Windermere.
Oh, wait. Do they have like tasting notes or anything on the back of it? Because Natasha was drinking White Claw when I talked to her, and she narrated her White Claw can.
I love that. Okay. With an unwavering dedication to excellence, our team artfully crafts wines that epitomize the finest terroirs of coastal California. Employing time-honored traditional winemaking techniques from small lot fermentation to precise barrel aging, each bottle showcases the true essence of our vineyard's grapes. Pair with our artisan cheese, entree salads, or your favorite gourmet dishes for an exquisite experience. Now, that said, it says nothing about the actual bottle itself. So,
yeah. That was amazing, though. That was great.
Thank you. I just narrated Windermere, apparently.
Yep.
Though I must say, it's funny, and not to sidetrack us too hard, but
oh no, it's fine.
My family gives me plenty of crap for the way that I pronounce narration or to narrate, because I will overpronounce the second R, and so I will go narrate at times, and that is not what you're supposed to say. And I mean, I sit there and it's like, gosh, a British accent to narrate. It's like it rolls right off the tongue. It's you're narrating, you're not narrating. So anyway, that's me. I'm weird.
Yeah,
Also,
no, it's
my
fine.
D&D cup that I got.
Oh my gosh,
Christmas.
That's awesome. I was trying to figure out what it was when it was back farther, and I couldn't tell. That's amazing. So what's your flavor profile on your wine?
Ooh, cherry, definitely cherry. Chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty smoky too.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah, it's good. I'll take it.
Yeah. Hey. Okay, so we always ask this of our beverages. Is it a spit or a swallow?
I understand that. Definitely a swallow.
I understand that. I understood that reference. Thanks, Captain America.
I got that. Mm. hmm
That's amazing. Okay, so tell us how you became a voice actor and narrator.
Oh God, it'll follow me forever.
Yep.
That's fine. Well, okay. So I started out, believe it or not, utterly and completely shy. I was very much a kid that was averse to even putting myself in a position to fail or heaven forfend be embarrassed. And that all changed when I found my way into drama. And once I joined my drama class, I performed in a scene, and my soon to be director, drama teacher, he wanted me to audition for the play. I did. I was like soldier number two or something. It was fine. I had two lines. It was great. My first role, I had two lines. But I told him very naively that I was really, really afraid of being embarrassed on stage. And so he did everything that he could to embarrass me on stage.
Yeah.
And so from there, I kind of just I moved away from that stage fright. Well, I moved away from the theater. I moved away from stage productions, and film productions is the direction I was going, but decided that I didn't want the lifestyle that came with it, just
Mhm.
the way that it would go. Nothing against that. It just wasn't for me. Um, but I would get all these comments from people, even as I was, say, working at Costco, working as a hearing instrument specialist for many years. I would get people just in random businesses that would say, "Hey, your voice, do you do anything with it?" And I just got tired of saying the same thing. No, but you're not the first person I've heard that from. Thank you for the compliment, kind sir or madam.
Mhm.
Um, and so finally I decided, you know what, heck with it. I'm going I love audiobooks. At the time, my audiobook library was like 200, 250 titles strong. And I was like, I want to get involved with these characters. I want to know what they're feeling. Like just thinking, imagine being the writer. Imagine being the person who's there in the driver's seat with these characters going, oh my God, like you're going through this, you're feeling this. Where are you going to go from here? And I remember the moment where I made the association of it'd be really cool to actually voice and be with these characters and in these stories. So 2020 rolled around, and I decided, heck with it. I have some free time. I'm quarantining. Um, and I have a closet under the stairs. Let's do this. And so I turned that into my first booth. It was abysmal. I had to unplug the refrigerator that was right outside every time I needed to record.
Oh no.
I needed to record early in the morning, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., which I know some people do. Now I don't have to do that, but I did then. And I had my laptop computer sitting there with my mic and my laptop basically just practically hugging. So it was a laptop with a fan. And so once in this very enclosed space, there was enough heat, the fan would kick on. I'd have to stop, open it, go get, I don't know, a hard drink of orange juice or something, and then go back to it. And so I could only record like 20 minutes at a time. That was my first audiobook. It was a 27-hour audiobook.
Oh
Um,
my gosh. That's a
because of
lot for
course,
the first time.
oh yeah,
That's what
definitely.
she
And
said. That's what she said.
and I was not gentle. Anyway, so it wasn't gentle, rather. Gosh, though, it was yeah, like 30 some odd different character voices and 27 hours and just this epic
Oh my
fantasy
gosh.
experience. And yeah, I frankly I was fucked.
Yeah.
Anyway, to close the line, this saga of a story. Yeah, from there, I would move on to another booth. It was admittedly not nearly as awful. And now I've got my booth here as it's my final form with my computer way the heck behind me outside of it. So I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I guess the best way I can say that I got started is I loved books enough and heard enough positive reinforcement that I decided to do something with it, I guess.
That's awesome.
Thank
And
you.
you just like, hey, I'm going to do this. And then it sort of went, it seems like.
More or less.
That's awesome. Well, that's a testament to like how great you sound, you know?
Thank you.
Oh,
Really.
you're so cute. No, and I do like when you were doing your little wine bottle narration, it reminds me, like you could be like someone doing like radio shows like in the 40s, you know?
Thank you for that.
That voice sounded like that. But it's very, but I know you do lots of other accents and things. How is it figuring out or learning accents, or are they natural to you? Do you have to practice? Like, do you do a voice coach type of deal? What do you do?
For me personally, I know that everybody has their own strategy, but for me, I found that what works is if I have a role in front of me, I can kind of assess the character. And if it turns out that they're Scottish, for instance, which was my first ever accent,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, you always do the hardest things first. Also, what she said.
ah, isn't that the truth? Anyway, Um, yeah, so okay, so if the character is Scottish, for whatever reason, for me, necessity works really well. Like if I go out and it's like I want to learn an Italian accent, I mean I can and I can do reasonably well, but once I have a character to sort of post with it and once I have dialogue to work with, I can really make strides really quickly. I found that honestly, just YouTube tutorials are fantastic. I've got a whole little repository of various accents, French and Spanish and Russian and High Garden and Western, Southern, Yooper, like Upper Peninsula, that is.
Okay, well, yeah, and I'm in Michigan here, so now I'm gonna need to make you do your Yooper accent so I can
Oh no,
rate
that puts
your
me on the.
accuracy.
That's the other thing. I need something to read then.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
Now, I guess for me, I find that okay, so when I started out with accents, no, I was the furthest thing from being anybody who should try to perform an accent. But the third ever project I had was a dual narration paranormal romance, and I it was billed as only ever having the only accents that were included were like standard American, urban, and Southern. So it's like, okay, I can do that, no problem. Well, one of the characters, this big, rough, um, like dragon shifter sort of character, he was billed as having a standard American accent. So we go through the audiobook, and at the very end, the rights holder listens through it. She gave us creative leeway to do with it what we would. We were very explicit about that. And at the very end, she said, "You know, I've decided I want him to have a Scottish accent." And I was like,
Cool, cool, cool.
"Okay." So that is how I learned to do voice demos. So I do voice demos before every one of my projects if I can help it, because it was a
Mm-hmm.
lot of re-recording. It was like
Yeah.
basically there were six main male characters, and he was like the mainest of the main male characters. And so it was a decent amount of re-recording.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because it was POV recording. And so it wasn't just
Mm.
as simple as like his dialogue was Scottish, it was POV chapters with a Scottish accent.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was something. So that I binged a ton of Outlander. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked up some tutorials and learned how to do it. And ever since, I love accents. I absolutely love it. Anytime I get to learn a new accent or try to apply a new accent, it's like, okay, this is boldening my repertoire. I get to look into a whole new culture.
Mm-hmm.
I get to kind of feel out what these characters are like, where they're coming from, and really feel them. I think it's amazing. It just didn't start out that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, I feel like because you put that much effort into it, into like figuring out your characters and figuring out the accents and things, and like you said, like researching cultures and stuff, like it comes through in your narrating, you
Hmm,
know? Like you can tell that you really feel what you're doing, which is really awesome.
thank you.
Yeah.
I love what I
Um,
do.
oh, well, that's great.
And to the author's credit, by the way, of that unfortunate circumstance, she actually did. She went back and she rewrote all of his dialogue, at least his dialogue, not the
Hmm.
prose, in a Scottish pronunciation or phonetical
Yeah.
Scottish way. And so, yeah, that makes a big difference.
So, have you
Mhm.
ever had a hard time reading like a section of a book, or a scene or dialogue or anything while you're recording because it's like funny or it's uncomfortable or like too intense? Like, have you ever had anything like that happen?
I have not in the too intense. For whatever reason, too intense doesn't so far seem to exist for me.
That
I
sounds like a
actually
challenge.
bring it on.
Authors.
Yes, bring it. I love intensity. I love the intensity of emotion. I love unhinged. Really kind of playing into the nuances of either madness or maniacism or just all the different ways that, say, a villain can express themselves or somebody who's in the position to just not be in what would be considered a standard frame of mind.
Hmm.
And the emotions that come with that. I think that's a ton of fun. Um, but I will say I've definitely had plenty of I've had some comedy roles. I've had some lines that have just caught me off guard, and I wish I could just bring them to mind, but whether it was something expected like in a comedy or totally unexpected like this is an epic fantasy, did I just read the words that just came out of my mouth? Um I have definitely had character breaks. It doesn't happen for me, the way that I kind of digest the narrative and then reciprocate with vocalization is it doesn't really tend to stop me from narrating. Uh, I'm so conscious of that now. I think it's so much fun. I think it just really enriches the performance and the experience because
Hmm.
it's human expression, and so that can't help but be poured into it if it's genuinely enjoyed.
Yeah, I agree. And you can tell too, and that's like I think you can tell, at least I can tell, like if I'm listening to an audiobook, if the narrator's just like I'm just doing this to get my like job done, or I like really
Right.
feel it and enjoy it. It makes a difference.
It really does. Definitely.
Yeah.
Something that has come up when I don't get a role, which
Hmm.
happens all the time, uh, is, I'll have authors that'll say, like, hey, I'm really, really sorry. It was between you and this guy, or hey, I'm really, really sorry. I decided to go a different direction, what have you. No matter how far I got in the process, no matter how likely I was to get the role, I'll hear rights holders feeling some version of guilt. And I mean, not even guilt, maybe that's too much, but I feel like being in an author's shoes of having to go, gosh, I need to pick one voice, sometimes two. Like if I'm dealing with a multicast, even more so, but it's all relative to the ratio of the pool that you're pulling from. And that's realistically saying no to tens of voices, tens of
Hmm.
people, and I can only imagine how that would feel and that pressure. But something I make certain to tell every rights holder that I can, and every voice actor as well that'll listen, is it really really helps when I realized that my voice is not going to be the right voice for every role, and that may sound incredibly simple, and it is, but there's something deeper there of just recognizing, hey, I want this story this story deserves the best possible voice it can have. And if it's not mine, I mean, there's plenty of stories, there's plenty of timelines where an author is like, yeah, sure, let's go with you. I think this guy's better, but for reasons, let's do you instead. And then, yeah, yes, that's what she said.
I was gonna say it, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
um, but God, where was I? Okay, that that tends to be a worse experience for everyone. It
Hmm.
doesn't do as much justice to the book. As a narrator, you're going to struggle because you're trying to fulfill something that the author is is going to try to ask of you that you were not really in the best position to supply in the first place. And so when I have a role that's turned down, I don't take it as a sting anymore. I take it as like a, whew, well, that was close. Like that could have been unfortunate. And I'm glad that they found the right voice that was perfect for their role, even if it wasn't me. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
so I know there's roles out there that are going to be better for me that I get to embolden and embody. I'm really excited for those all the more because if I get picked for them, that tells me I am the right voice for that. And that
Right.
what I bring to the table is going to be from me, not trying to be somebody else or something I'm not, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And that's a
So,
really, really great way to look at it. And also, I think like the narrator community is very supportive of each other and
mhm,
collaborative, and everyone just wants everyone else to succeed. Like, if anybody doesn't know, we were all together in New Orleans, Cole and I, and a couple other people for the Dark Star um, well, they called it a lemonade party, but what do we want to call it? Dark Star event or whatever.
Yeah,
Dark Star
right.
gathering, whatever. And everyone there is a narrator and they're all amazing. So it's easy to, I think it might be a little bit easier to be like, oh well, I didn't get this role, but this other person got it and they'd be perfect for it. And they're also my friend, you know?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, because everyone, at least, like what I know from the narrator community, everyone is so supportive of each other and everyone just wants everyone else to succeed just as much as they want themselves to succeed.
Absolutely. We have a really
Yeah.
beautiful community.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so
Mhm.
going along with that, um, so when you get ready to record, do you do any warm-ups or anything, or what's your routine when you get ready?
I was actually just noticing this. I used to have a like rigid, regimented warm-up process that I would allot like 5 minutes for, and once I was done with that, then I'd move on to the next step. Now, funnily enough, not so much. And I've actually started to second guess myself as like, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Like, um, am I getting, what's the best way to put that? Not getting ahead of myself. Am I,
Overconfident,
lulling myself
maybe?
into like a false sense of
Oh,
security?
yeah, yeah.
Um, but what I used to do and what I do periodically when I remember is I have a couple of tongue twisters and I'll just go through those tongue twisters and
Can
then
you
I'll
can you give
tagline it with the
can you give
what?
examples? Can you give
Yeah.
examples of your tongue twisters?
Let's see. Red leather, yellow leather, 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 and I'll do them as quick as I can for the better part of about 10 seconds each. Of course, Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells
Hmm.
seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. This is fun. Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch, Irish wristwatch, Swiss wristwatch, Irish
I've never
wristwatch,
heard
Swiss
that
wristwatch.
one.
I know. I heard it from Don Barnes and his son had these like tutorial videos, and that came up in conversation. I was just like taking that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
awesome. Irish,
yeah. I
that
feel like
one's
I'm
hard.
missing
Irish wristwatch, Swiss
Swiss wristwatch.
wristwatch. Wow, that's
Yeah,
hard to say.
it is. It's definitely the harder one. And then I'll end it with the V for Vendetta monologue. Oh wow.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. Um, yeah, the V for Vendetta monologue. Voila, in view, a humble vaudevillian veteran cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. Shoot, I psyched myself.
It's awesome though. I'm so happy that you know like that much. Just I mean, if you do it regularly, then you would. But
Yeah, right,
yeah,
totally.
I'm
Such a good movie.
also yeah. But have you read the graphic novel? Because it's from a graphic novel.
You know, I haven't read the graphic novel, admittedly.
It's
I
so
am a
good.
charlatan that way, but I have heard nothing but amazing things about it.
Yeah.
That
And the
said,
movie did a great job of correlating from one art form to the other. Okay, so you kind of talked about this when you talked about where you record. Where can you like expound on that? Like you've got your booth, but like where is it set up or,
oh,
can
sure,
you
yeah. So the booth that I'm in now, in our current abode, is actually in the basement. It's a finished basement, so it's actually what we refer to as the den. We've got some soundproof curtains between me and the stairway that goes up.
That's awesome. Do
Yeah.
you have like one of the what is it called? Do you have like an actual booth or did you like make it into out of a closet or like what are the ones brick I want to call it a Lego something. I was like brick figs or something. What is that called?
Oh
I
shoot.
don't remember.
Yeah. Right. Shoot. I know what you're going for.
Whatever they are. But do you
Sure.
have like is it a homemade booth? Is it like the booth kit? Is it like built into a closet? Like what you got happening over there?
I have got a well here, let me just show you. So I have my recording set up. I'm not sure if I'm showcasing much of anything well here.
It looks good.
Um, but this is a full-on booth. So this is a whisper room. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, it works really, really well. You can find them if you just look up Whisper Room. That's the name of their company. They do really good work. This is what is it? It's the audio suite, I believe. There's like a step up from their standard booth, and this is specifically for voice acting, or basically anything having to do with recording audio. It just comes in an enormous crate that you have to
Yeah.
unpack and build up. Fun fact, it turns out the basement that we decided I would be able to set this up in, the house was built in the 50s, and that's
Mhm.
great. Love that old house charm. The ceiling is not level. And so when we did the measurement to make sure that
Oh,
my booth,
no.
yep, when we did the measurement to make sure it could fit, it fit right there, but it turns out that the whole width of the ceiling was going to be occupying space that was less or more. Less is the more important figure. So when it came down to actually building it, I actually had to exclude the floor panel from the booth.
Oh.
So it's just basically like a little
Mm, like a
that
little cube,
exactly. Yep, exactly. It's just a little like coal
like a
cube.
little TARDIS.
It's a little TARDIS, exactly. Perfect. And I just got a really thick, fluffy rug that I cut to size and placed down and called it a day.
Well, that's cool.
Shoot.
That's good.
Yeah.
I love how like customized everybody's booths are.
Hmm.
It's really cool. Like, and I feel like they all fit the narrators really well.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I really like it. Okay. So, um, this is a multiple question.
Mhm.
What are some of your favorite projects that you've done in the past? And also, like, what are you recording now? Do you have anything coming out soon?
Okay, so the hardest question first. Favorite projects. I have to go with multiples because I've had too many projects that I've just loved. One that will always hold a very special place in my heart, just because I felt like I got really close to the characters, was Starzy Davies' Desolation series. It was a continuation of her post-apocalyptic what if kind of series. The what if being what if people started kind of X-Men style developing superpowers that were connected to their genetics, and the disparity with it that would happen between those who are powered and those who are unpowered, and more or less it just it ends the world more or less, and so everybody's kind of living in these isolated, well, by the characters, figuring their whole society is the last society that exists on the planet that has just been ruined by nuclear war, basically, and by the powers of a certain individual who basically could destroy the world. um but the second series is where I came in and I got to play with these characters who were the children of the characters from the first
Oh,
series.
cool.
So cool. It was a lot of fun. I got to do a couple of characters from there, including a sleeper character who starts out incredibly innocuous and incredibly helpful and kind, and ends up being the machination ultimate villain of the entire series. And I just thought it was so cool.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
that's very high on my list.
That
That said,
series sounds really cool. Well, both sets of series sound really
it's
cool.
it's really cool. I can't recommend enough. I mean, Starzy Davies, she's amazing. She's actually working on a high fantasy project as well, which I'm
Ooh.
keeping very close tabs on. Okay, coming out soon. Let's see. The third book of C.S. Smith's Julius Security Agency series should have just come out. So that was in a British accent,
Ooh.
spicy romance,
Ooh.
thriller,
Mm.
political aspects in there as well. She runs a
It's
really
got it
tidy ship
all.
there. Yeah, it does. um, I've done a I've done a slew of stalker romance recently. Like, I would not call it a disturbing amount unless it was punny, which it is apparently. But like all of a sudden it was like stalker romance, stalker romance, stalker romance, stalker romance, and they all just sort of came out of the wings as one does. So I've got E.L. Koslow's The Midnight
Mm.
Voyeur, which I got to do
Mhm.
with Brandon and Troy. I did Silhouette, which is actually a project I just joined. That is a stalker project as well.
Cool.
So that should be coming out soon also. And then I'm actually working on the second of what I believe is going to be 7 books from Rose Chase. That's the Bratva's Bride series.
I
So,
love your Bratva accent.
oh, thank you. Gosh, I got to learn Russian for that. That was so much fun.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So I'm doing the Bratva's Beast, which happens parallel to the Bratva's Bride and then goes past the ending
Oh,
of
cool.
Bratva's Bride. Yeah, it goes into one of the MMC's, the original MMC's brothers, Stepan, and his romance with another character that shows up in the first book, and it's a lot of fun. Rose is a very,
Yay.
very talented writer.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then we're going to be going to Bratva's Bounty shortly after that, which will go into
Ooh.
another brother.
I love it. What about Misconnection, the one that you were narrating live with Brandon? When
God.
does
See,
that
this
come?
is
Because
what I'm
that one's
talking about.
amazing. Yeah, but see,
Thank
this is
you.
what I'm here for.
Well, thank you.
Luckily, I stalk all of you guys, so I know what you're up to.
Fittingly. Okay. Yes, Missed Connection. I actually just finished up some pickups for that. Missed Connection was an absolutely wonderful ride, and definitely, there you go, stalker romance-ish. Ish. Very, very like You Netflix style.
Yeah.
The Netflix series You. Stepping into that kind of character, stepping into those roles was a ton of fun. That is on its way out as well. And yeah, I mean, like we were talking about, being able to just play such an unhinged perspective uh, was a lot of fun, to say the least of it.
Yeah. That is a crazy book, but it's awesome.
Definitely.
But I love how into it you get,
It's a lot of fun.
It's great. Yeah. What is your advice for someone who would be looking at starting out trying to be a narrator or a voice actor?
First and foremost, my advice personally would be to make sure that everybody, of course, should try something that they think that they'll love. They should try it at the very least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's ways to do that without getting in too deep. But I will admit that with narration, it can be a little bit daunting or difficult to pull the trigger on that because you have to feel like, okay, I need to get the gear, I need to get the software, I need to get the know-how, I need to get the coaching. My first recommendation is just to look at it very pragmatically and ask yourself, is this something that if it were to take off, if you were to do, would it ruin listening to audiobooks? Would it ruin reading? Would you be taking something that is a love of yours, presumably, and I would recommend that there is a a pre-existing love for literature or audiobooks there. Otherwise, that gets a little difficult. But presuming that that is there, making sure that that's not going to go away or be polluted, or that you don't mind if your play becomes your work, so to speak, and that they can coexist that way. But after that, pragmatically speaking, the way that I went about getting into narration and now looking back from it now, where I am now, I would look into ACX. I would go to, they're not the only platform that you can pursue, but they're a pretty wide one. And they have a really excellent tutorial system that you can go through that pretty much step by step. But yeah, basically to get into narration, I would say make sure that it's something you really want to do genuinely. Go through the ACX process, and I would go to open source. You can find some open source things on the internet. Read Moby Dick. Read Sherlock Holmes. You just have fun with it. Read
Mm-hmm.
something. Most authors do not mind if you read their work, but just, you have to reach out and ask for permission, or at the very least be told, I don't care, before you pursue any of your
Mm-hmm.
favorite books. And yeah, just make an ACX profile, set up your samples, and start throwing out auditions. And I mean, I guess the next thing I would recommend is just don't be shy. Again, it's the worst thing they can say is no, and no's
Mm-hmm.
can hurt. But again, I think that finding the project that says, yes, your voice is right, makes up for 10 to 100 no's, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense.
I have some
Yeah.
funny questions. Can you say some unsexy words in a romance narrator voice? Make them sound sexy? I'll give you some
Okay.
words. I'll give you some words to say if you're up for it. You know what? If you could say them in a sentence and make them all like super
Oh,
sexy
okay.
sentence, that would be good too. But
All right.
okay, the
Very good.
first one's for Penny because this is her favorite word.
Uh-huh.
Overalls.
Okay. Uh-huh.
um, crusty. I'm gonna say innards. Yeah. Um, and you don't have to make all of these into one sentence. That would be a little, if you can, that'd be amazing.
Oh God. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna do one more. Phlegm.
Nice. I'm
There you
gonna
go.
throw in moist because I feel like you have
Yes,
to.
I know. I was like, everybody does moist,
Oh, that's fair. Okay, fair
but
enough.
it's fair.
Then we'll
But
be
you can still do it. Do it. Do it though. Do it. Do it. Do
all
it.
right. Yeah, do it. There's the meme. Okay.
Yep.
Gosh, now I need okay. Okay. Looking at her in her overalls. You wouldn't think I'd find her as deliriously attractive as I very clearly do.
That's amazing. Penny's probably gonna have that as like her go to sleep, like overalls. Somebody likes my overalls.
You're welcome, Penny.
Okay, next. I love this.
Okay. Okay. Not to be crusty or old-fashioned, but want me to open the door for you.
Ooh, I like it. I like that turn for crusty instead of, you know,
Yeah, right,
whatever.
exactly. Yeah,
Crusty.
crusty. Yeah,
Crusty.
colloquialism as opposed to adjective.
Yes, there we go. Okay.
Okay. Covered in innards. You would think I would not feel the way I do looking at her like this. Covered in gore, she is still a goddess, walking this earth if ever there was.
That was awesome. I like that entire I would read that book 100%.
Okay. How to do this then? Clearing the phlegm from my throat. I look at her. What a sight I must be. Gods, look at her. I can't do much more than that.
It sounded really good. I
In
like it.
improvisation is definitely a
Mhm.
third language for me. This
You're
is why
doing great. This
well,
is amazing. I
thank
also
you.
really like when you get ready, you're like you have a whole like I'm ready pose. It's awesome. I shouldn't have said
Maybe
that
it's
because
an
now you're going to be
association.
self-conscious.
It might be like an associative psychology where it's like, okay, now I'm in recording mode. Like,
Right. Now I'm
go
like,
forth.
yes.
Drat. And I'll try it.
Okay.
Looking upon her, she bites into a moist croissant. Cannot help but wonder what it would feel like to press my lips against the corner of her mouth.
That is great. Your
It's kind of
sentences
going
are
for.
amazing.
I'm just playing. Clearly, I've
I
done
know.
plenty of
You've
romance.
yeah, you know what to go for. I have a question for you. This is
Mhm.
just a random question. So, when you do your like reels and everything, you always have your like intro like whoop, which I like. Where did that
Yep.
come from?
Okay. Full disclosure, I've gotten so many comments on that in NOLA and in general, and it's just sort of this schwa that has become part of my brand, I guess. But it was entirely indeliberate. So I record all of my TikToks on my phone, which is not a great phone, by the way. Sorry, phone, but I'm going to be upgrading it here pretty soon, and hopefully then the camera will match what I'm intending to do with it. But I literally I have to reach up and tap the record button, and it just always
Oh,
felt like instead of going back and editing, instead of any other more significantly more elegant and professional way to go about doing it, I find that my hand is up here anyway, and therefore I have to do something with it. So it's yep, it's more or less the equivalent of turning a stumble into a pirouette.
that's awesome. But it is a really like clever way to not have to edit out that beginning. So,
Mhm.
um, way to go. Way to be ingenuitive.
Thank you kindly. I
Hmm
appreciate the immense level of grace for that.
I seriously think it's really cool. So now we usually do, they're called blush questions, which are
Okay.
a little bit, they can be a little scandalous. So, but if there's anyone that you're like, I don't want to answer that, you can just tell me, nah, and then I'll pick something different.
Okay. No
Okay.
problem.
Are you ready?
Bring it.
Bring it on. Okay. I was gonna ask the like, what's the craziest thing you've done after a whole bottle of wine or something, but you handle your booze. Do you have a crazy story or no?
I mean, there was the first and only time I've ever gotten alcohol poisoning.
Is it an interesting story?
Oh, yes, absolutely. How could it not
Oh,
be?
yeah, well then bring it on.
All right. Well, this goes out to my sister. Love you. By the way, how dare you? So my sister, she is like 100 pounds soaking wet. So she's this diminutive, beautiful pixie creature. And when I was 21 and significantly less intelligent, I tell myself frequently, she challenged me to a drinking competition. And I could not, being the big brother,
Hmm
I could not turn that down. It just
Of course.
I would have, dishonor on me, dishonor on my cow, the whole spiel.
Yep.
So we go ahead and we start. And it's vodka that we're drinking. And we get 5 shots in, and then 10, and then 14.
This sounds like a night hanging out with me. It's it sounds
Right.
like 14. Holy crap. 14 each or 7 each?
So about that. Yeah, 14 each,
Okay.
then 17. And then around then, she finally tells me, because apparently her conscience won out, that she had started to sleight of hand. Yes, this is my sister. I swear she's a trickster goddess that's just visiting us on this plane. She started sleight of handing her shots away, and I don't even know how to this day, around shot 6. So I was 17 shots in.
What?
She was actually only 6 shots in.
What an
How
evil
dare her?
little creature. I love her.
Yeah, oh, you two should never meet because I'm fairly certain that society would collapse in the most beautiful way possible, but nevertheless. So, yes, that happened, and I was most assuredly drunk. But I recalled the lessons from my forefathers. I took 2 Advil and about as many glasses of water as I could consume to get as close to the number of shots as possible. And the next day I woke up and I was okay. I was all right. I
Huh.
felt actually reasonably all right. I didn't have a hangover.
Hmm
And then the next day I got sick, and I stayed sick
Oh.
for about 2.5 weeks
Oh
because
my God.
that is what alcohol poisoning can look like
Oh
as your
my
body
God.
purges immense quantities of toxin from your system.
Yeah.
So we just skipped straight from the dishonor of hangover to you have fucked up and now you are bedridden.
Dang, I didn't realize that you could be sick that long from, but I guess it's however long it needs to get everything out of your system, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Or, and then a little residual or whatever. Wow.
pretty intense.
Yeah.
Lessons were learned,
Dang. Yes, but I was gonna say you woke up and felt fine because you were 21, and that's what happens when you're 21. You're like,
as one does.
oh,
Right.
whatever. But yeah, holy shit. That's ridiculous.
Right.
I love it. I mean, I don't love that you were in terrible like peril or whatever, but
I don't
That's a
either.
good story.
Exactly. See,
Yeah.
that's what I get out of it.
Yeah. I had well, I have two. So this reminds me of I had an Olympics watching party this was a long time ago, and we had a whole bunch of people over, always drinking and stuff. And then a friend of mine, I was like, "Hey, have you ever had Chopin vodka? Have you ever had Chopin vodka? Wait, are you off of vodka now after that, or do you still drink vodka?"
I don't drink vodka. I don't avoid it, but I don't like seek it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
I have found that I really enjoy wine, and that's just kind of my
hmm
go-to.
Wine's the shit.
Yeah, seriously.
But I'm also a vodka kid. I love vodka too. So that's my jam. So I was with my friend and I was like, and most of the people had left at this point. It was kind of like winding down. It was like 1 a.m. or something. That's when it was kind of winding down. But this was a long time ago. But I was like, hey, have you ever had Chopin? And it's Polish potato vodka, but it's so good. It's so nice and clean. There's not like that weird wood alcohol taste to it. It's just and so she's like, no, I haven't. And so I get some for her and we were drinking it and we were just drinking it on the rocks. And then a little bit later, we were going to go get some more. And then she's like, this is empty. And then she's like, did we just drink this entire fifth of vodka? And I was like, yep, guess so. Hooray.
Oh
So,
my.
yeah. So I've had some experiences with copious amounts of vodka for sure. Yeah. And I also was going to say I took 2 Advil. So if I had a headache in college, my go-to, especially if I needed to go do something, like go out or something, I would take 6 Advil with 2 shots of vodka. That was how I got rid of my headaches.
Wow.
It's incredibly healthy. Not at
Most
all.
assuredly.
Okay, so here we go. Here, I'm going to ask some more questions. How naughty do you want to be here?
That is a loaded question.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much okay, so here's a question that we like to ask.
Sure.
And if you're like, nah, then I'll do a different one.
Totally.
What is the craziest sex position that you've tried and been successful at, and or one that you were hilariously inept at?
Wow. Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, I think that we can all, I think as adults, all here, we can recognize that sex has happened. So, let me see here. What is the craziest? Um, hmm. Okay, so there were some attempts with a sex swing
I was
that
gonna say
was
I have a sex swing
interesting.
story too, but
Yeah. Oh,
tell
really?
yours. Yes, tell yours
Okay.
first.
Okay. No, just to say that it did not go to plan. It did not. It did not work. And so more or less, just for us at the time, this was way back, this was in college. It just wasn't really, it was something we abandoned very quickly. Because it was just like, well, here we are, here you are. How is the weather? This isn't working. All right, let's go to the thing that actually works. Nobody got hurt. Laughs were had, especially as certain individuals were being dismounted from the rigging.
That's a wonderful way to put it.
Right, right. And more than that, I will say that there is some really crazy positions you can get up to in a car.
Yeah.
There was
Okay.
well, center console. And have you ever heard of it's what's referred to colloquially in some circles as the mating press.
No, this is rare that I don't know a sex move,
Well, more or
Tell
less
me,
it
do tell.
is It is an entanglement of legs that leaves very, very, very little space between you and the other person. It basically just allows literally no distance to exist between the two parties.
Huh.
And it's more or less missionary, but extreme. And yeah, that in a car using the center console as the base
Yeah.
was probably the craziest, especially considering the fact that it was in broad daylight.
Yeah. Way to
Oh
go,
yeah,
you freak. I love it. Mating press. I need to look that up now.
I apologize for your search history.
Oh, do you know what my search history looks like? Like, seriously, come on.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Um, also, oh, dang it. It is rare that there's like a sex move that I don't know. Like, usually we're reading our books and then I'll be like a little bit ahead of Penny and I'll be like, I can't wait for her to text me. And then she'll be like, what is this? What is this? What
Ah,
does this
gotcha.
mean? What's a rusty trombone? That one was my favorite.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I'm her Urban Dictionary basically.
Perfect.
So it's surprising that I didn't know that. So I'm definitely going to look it up. Okay, so my sex swing story, it wasn't like a full-on sex swing. It was one where you like hooked it over the door and like
Hmm.
the bar hung in the door and so it wasn't like floating in the middle of the room, but
Sure.
you put the little brace behind the door frame and then you shut the door so it would hang like over the door.
Hmm. Right.
And then so I get one leg in it and then he's trying to pick up my other leg to put it in because he wanted that one completely secure first rather than I was like, pick me up and do this. Like, no, let's get this leg in here first. And he's picking me up the other leg and the thing broke. The
Oh
straps
no.
like detached from the bar. And so I just like, like crashed down.
No.
Yeah. So once again, yeah, I also was like, we're like, this is not, we laughed a lot, but I was like, this definitely didn't work. It didn't work out at all.
Turns out if there's going to be a failure in a sex position, it's very likely due to gravity.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Okay. So we'll do one more. What's Oh, this one, it's not like naughty, but it's just always fun to know. Who
Okay.
was your first celebrity crush?
Oh gosh, I suck at this. No, really, I am. No, no, it's actually it's tricky because I am that freakazoid that just doesn't have any. Like, I legitimately don't. I kind of I would blank like deer in headlights to this question because everybody always seemed to have an answer where it's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Orlando Bloom or Johnny Depp or Keira Knightley, and I've just named the entire cast of Pirates of the Caribbean because of course,
They're all attractive, incredibly attractive though.
naturally. But
Hmm.
I was always sitting there like, blank
You didn't
because
have like a sexual awakening with anybody or anything?
not really. And the reason for
Wow.
that, I have an addendum to this, but it won't fulfill the question the
Okay,
way
that's
that
fine.
the way
Give
that
me
it
your
would.
addendum.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, before I give the addendum, I'll give the preface. The preface is that basically my attraction to a person is incredibly personal, meaning to say, I can't look at a person just based upon their physicality. Like, I
Hmm.
can look at a person and go, yeah, they're attractive. Like, these people, they're attractive. But I can't actually like crush on them or say
Hmm.
fantasize about them unless I know them personally. Like there's a psychological association, a personality association for me that is necessary in order for me to make that next step. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's a body basically.
You're just like, oh yeah, that person is attractive, but who cares? Yeah.
More or less.
Hmm.
So the addendum to that is I would say if I were to select like once upon a time, the moment that I went like, okay, like if we're just looking at physicality, uh Christina
Continue.
Hendricks.
Oh, she's great.
She is.
Hmm.
She
Hmm.
is. She is. yeah, I mean, just, and admittedly, it didn't help that the first role that I ever saw her in was Saffron from Firefly, which was
Yeah.
like very much a seductress, but
Yeah.
I mean, incredibly smart about it. Definitely a snake in the grass, but yeah, definitely proportions wise, yeah, very appealing.
Proportions.
Hey, what answer did you expect from me?
Ah, but like I could see that though, because you're such an intellectual that like you would need to have that like that, I don't want to say like a stimulus connection like with your mind, not just
Not just body. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like me where I was like I saw Labyrinth when I was like 5 years old and I was like, who's that guy? I love him and been obsessed with him ever since. David
I
Bowie's my
can't blame you
man.
for that, honestly.
Yep. Okay, so since you had like a caveat for that, what about a first kiss story? Do you have a first kiss story?
Yeah. Okay, so first kiss. Oh gosh. Well, wait. Like first kiss or like first kiss?
Ooh, do one of each
Fair. Walked into that one.
if you want
Um,
to, because I
yeah,
have like a elementary school kiss and then there's like the
exactly.
real
Yeah.
one.
So
Yeah.
elementary school kiss, yeah. Like childhood friend of all childhood friends. Like person that I basically grew up with, like almost very nearly from let's just say from year one. Like we knew each other from year one respectively. Our families were really really close. We were always hanging out, always spending time together. And yeah, by basically like later elementary school where the notion of girlfriends and boyfriends were starting to become like a satellite aspect, um we just sort of ascribed each other as like, oh yeah, you're my girlfriend, you're my boyfriend, etc. Because of course that's how that works.
That's how that works.
Um, and so yeah, I believe because it was just a while ago. She was my first kiss, and it was something akin to basically like I will love you always, and says like 8-year-old Cole. And yeah, I think we kissed then. I'm like 98% certain that we've kissed. Uh, okay, but barring that first like kiss, that was when I was 15. That was with my very first actual official girlfriend. That would have been we actually met through. Do you remember, or are you aware of it was a site called Gaia Online.
Like the goddess guy, like Mother Gaia?
Well, Mother Gaia, sure, definitely, but it was this platform where writers came together. Once upon a time was a writer.
Oh, yes, I do
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
okay.
And so you had your little
Mhm.
avatars and whatnot, and you'd
Yeah.
join like various forums, and you'd well, like, basically tell stories together. You'd role play together.
Mhm.
So yeah, we met through Gaia and got to talking. She lived like 2 hours away from where I was. We got to basically decide that we were dating again, a long distance relationship, very first relationship ever because winning choices. And but went to meet her, and yeah, I think I was that dweeb that decided that something super romantic and original was to have a chocolate kiss. And I gave her the chocolate kiss and then I kissed her because, of course, that's what you do
Well,
naturally.
that's what you do when you're, 15 or whatever. Like
Exactly.
that's so cute. I love it.
It was that, if nothing else.
All right. Well, I guess we should probably hang it up. And thank you so much for joining me. This was great.
My
And it's
pleasure.
always fun to talk to you. It's not like I haven't talked to you, recently, but
Hmm,
in an official capacity. This was great. And thank you
definitely.
so
It
much.
was. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me. It was an immense pleasure and honor. And yeah, right back at you. It's
Aw.
fun to talk, and to get to do this in a professional space is all the better. But yeah, just talking to you,
Hmm.
Kelly, is a lot of fun.
Aw. Yay. Okay. So I'm going to let you go and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you then.
Okay.
Have a
All
great day,
right.
Kelly.
You too.